Axios recently put out an article titled Squad Politics Backfire. In it, Mike Allen writes that the hard left politics of Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the so-called squad, once a dominant theme for vast numbers of elected Democrats, is backfiring big time on the party in power. Top Democrats tell us. So now look, I'm going to get more into this article. Already complete and utter garbage. So let's talk about this. Now, hard left. Hard left? What is hard left? I mean, honestly, what they're fighting for are things that are into the mainstream of the Democratic Party. You go poll after poll, and with the policies that they support, and you have a lot of the majority of Democrats that support their policies. And policies, by the way, that the squad also supports and fights for. But here's what they focus on, right? He writes, the push to defund the police, rename schools, and tear down statues has created a significant obstacle to Democrats keeping control of the House, the Senate, and the party's overall image. No mention of any sort of the economic policies championed by people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and members of the squad. Just a culture war stuff. Nonsense. Nonsense. By the way, have you heard any other member of the squad other than Cori Bush really mention defund the police? No, they're not talking about that. And so no other member of the squad has really been pushing defund the police. And look, honestly, it's because it's not a very popular position among Democratic voters. And so, look, I disagree with that. I think we should defund the police. But honestly, the messaging, yes, is not great around it because people don't understand that. People see, and of course, there's constant scaremongering, news reports. Somebody stole, they stole steaks from Trader Joe's. It's an epidemic of crime. Look, there's I believe it was the NYPD that tweeted out a picture of them, bragging about, oh, we recovered $1,800 worth of stolen goods. You know what it was? All essentials, formula, baby diapers, laundry detergent, like household essentials. They got so much backlash, and they had to end up deleting that picture because everybody's like, well, wait a minute. Why are people resorting to stealing that stuff? Oh, right. It's because they can't afford it. Because wages haven't gone up. They're absolutely stagnant. Your money is actually worth less because now we have inflation. But oh, no. See, we're proud that we stopped the people from being able to feed their kids. And I know there are people that will come on and mention it, but they're stealing. And besides, it might not even be the families. It's the resellers that will come in, they'll steal it, and then they'll sell it to poor people at a discount because it's stolen. Okay, well, when you create you have to look at why that there's a creation of this black market for baby diapers, right? And it's because normal people can't afford it anymore. That's the root of the problem. But no, we you know what? We have to fund the police more instead of social programs. And so here's the thing. I do agree with defund the police because it's not about just taking all the money out of the police. No, it's funding those programs to prevent crime so that you don't need as many police. And not only that, but preventing people from getting murdered by police officers, unarmed black people specifically, by allowing, social workers, People with, by the way, people with mental illness also get shot and killed needlessly by police officers because they don't know how to handle it. Yeah. So that's why I'm in favor of defund the police. But again, I understand that it's terrible optics. I know that a lot of people don't understand what that actually means. They just think, oh, well, that means less police. No, it means more efficient police. Right now, the budgets of the NYPD are completely bloated, over-bloated. And they have all this equipment, these, essentially weapons of war from the military. They don't need that stuff. They actually do need to work with less. If teachers can do it, you can do it. Police. Fund those social programs. But anyway, nonetheless, there's been nobody that's been running on this, that's been talking about this as of late. But no, this is a favorite talking point. The Jim Clyburns come back and, they're talking about this. They're talking too much about racism, and they're talking too much about defunding the police. So we just don't support that. Well, if you look at the polls, you're right. The black community doesn't support defunding the police. And again, that comes down to a messaging problem. And so that's why you don't have the squad talking about this. No, the push right now for members of the squad is mainly just trying to pass Joe Biden's agenda. That's it. Build Back Better. The child tax credit. The child tax credit lifted 40% of children out of poverty. But it's gone now. It's gone. And you know who prevented that from happening? Not the squad. No, corporate Democrats, conservative Democrats. And so that's what happened. And by the way, when you look at who, Axios talked to for this piece, these top Democrats, you're not going to be surprised who they are. Josh Gottheimer, he's one of them. He is the co-chair of the Bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus. Yes. He told Axios, quote, "What I'm hearing at home and what I'm focused on are common sense bipartisan solutions, from tackling grocery and gas prices to cutting taxes and fixing our infrastructure, to investing in new law enforcement and fighting crime." Are you, though, Representative Gottheimer? Are you really? What policies are coming out that are bipartisan? What policies are you putting forward to get stuff done? No, here's who Representative Gottheimer is. He's one of the 9 House members who got together to try to block the Build Back Better plan in the House. The $3.5 trillion Build Back Better. Threatened to tank it. The entire bill. And by the way, that bill, the $3.5 trillion, guess what? It had policies in there that were incredibly popular with the Democratic base. That would have actually helped your family. Child tax credit, Medicare expansion for older people, dental, vision, hearing, would have had paid leave. But no, they didn't want that. And you know what? Earlier, even before Build Back Better, there's a chance for Democrats to be able to raise the wage to $15 an hour. Did that happen? No. Again, blocked by corporate Democrats. But somehow, it is the squad's fault for fighting for Biden's policies. The ones that he ran on. Oh, it gets worse. It gets much worse. In fact, the second person that they talked to is former Senator Heidi Heitkamp of North Dakota. She says that her fellow Democrats have been hurting themselves by not speaking out more forcefully against liberal positions that she says alienate rural America. Oh, liberal positions. Democrats saying we gotta fight against liberal positions. She told the AP, quote, "Now the brand is so toxic that people who are Democrats, the ones left, aren't fighting for the party. Now, let me tell you who Heidi Heitkamp is. She lost to a Republican. She's a corporate Democrat, very, very centrist, conservative, and she lost. And she lost not by going to the left. She lost after she went to the right. She went further conservative and did the exact same strategy that they're saying the squad should do and that Democrats should do if they want to win. And yet somehow she lost. Gee, weird. Very, very strange situation here. No, it's not strange at all. We keep saying this. Why would anybody want to vote for Republican light when you can vote for a Republican? They're going to get the same thing. They're going to go for the original. Oh, but there's even more. The article says that the signs have built steadily throughout President Biden's 13 months in office that squad politics are problematic when you control everything. Well, yes, it is problematic because when you control everything, guess what? The voters actually expect you to do things. That's why it's problematic, because it turns out they actually want to do things, but they don't have the power to do the things because here you have the rest of the party that consistently fights against them. But they got to have somebody to blame for them not fighting for anything. And look, here's what the Democrats have done so far. They passed COVID relief. Okay, wow, big deal. Donald Trump also passed COVID relief. And they passed a corporate handout bill for infrastructure. It's a bipartisan infrastructure bill. Well, guess what? That's a massive pork barrel spending bill. Yes, is infrastructure good? Do we need infrastructure? Yes, we do, of course. But the results of that, they're not going to be felt for years to come. It's going to be like 2027, 2028 before you actually start to benefit from the results of the corporate infrastructure bill. That's not going to help you in the midterms. And so, look, there's been no significant change in policy. In fact, look, Joe Biden, he has kept one of his campaign promises, the one that he made to his donors, that nothing will fundamentally change. But while that's happened, while nothing has changed for the workers for the better, you have had inflation that they're blaming, by the way, on you. They're blaming you for it. Oh, there's too much government spending. That's why the inflation is happening. You got too much. What about the billions of dollars that were given to corporations in corporate handouts? That all they did is went and bought back their own stock and increased shareholder value. That's what they did with the money. You didn't do it. You didn't cause that inflation. You got a $1,200 check and maybe some unemployment benefits. That's it. You didn't get all that much. And yet they're blaming you for it. No. Their whole midterm strategy appears to be telling voters, hey, look, we did too much for you. And now, the inflation that's happening, well, that's your fault. And it's because of the damn squad. If it weren't for the squad, if it weren't for progressives in office, you wouldn't have to deal with inflation. See, it's them, it's their fault. Vote for us. Vote for corporate Democrats. And one more thing. Here's what the article says. Republicans' decisive sweep of statewide offices in Virginia was powered in part by Democrats' failure to appreciate parents' skepticism about public schools, mask mandates, policies on transgender rights, and approach to teaching about race. You know what that's saying? Republicans were right. See, that's it. You're wrong, and the Republicans were right. They're right about everything. Well, then, if your message as the Democratic Party is saying Republicans are right about everything, then why would anybody ever vote for a Democrat? What kind of message is that? No, this is ridiculous. You know what really happened? Democrats had no reason to turn out in Virginia. They didn't. Republicans did. Republicans turned out because they were motivated by the culture wars. Democratic voters happen to be motivated by policy positions. And if you're not fighting for policies, then why would why would anyone vote for you? Especially if you have control over the government. I know they come up with every single excuse. Oh, it's a filibuster. Oh, it's a parliamentarian. Oh, we can't do that. Oh, if only, if only weren't the Republicans. But you're the ones that are blocking this. You're the ones. Joe Biden could today cancel a significant part of student loan, could cancel all of it if he wanted to unilaterally. He doesn't need anyone else to do it. He doesn't need Congress to do it. But he refuses to do it. Not on a mass scale. And by the way, some of you will point out, well, he canceled some student loan debt a little bit. And that's great. That's fine. What was it, like 50 something million or $60 million of student loan debt out of $1.8 trillion? I'm sure the number is a little bit higher. The people that are, that were preyed on by for-profit colleges. I think DeVry is the latest one. But, okay, that's still an incredibly small slice of the amount that's owed in student loan debt. You could cancel it all. But he refuses to do that. And so without that, you're really not going to get anywhere. And now, that said, finally, the result here, and this is the whole plan of this article, and this isn't the only one. You have the Politicos and you have Axios, you have all these establishment media outlets that are doing the same thing, blaming progressives. They're going to go with the narrative that it's all the progressives' fault for not being good Democrats, for not working with the party. But wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense when you actually look at what they've been doing, that they've been fighting for Joe Biden's agenda much more than Joe Biden has. They've been fighting for the Biden agenda. Bernie Sanders has been fighting for the Biden agenda. They have put more progressive priorities on the back burner to fight for Joe Biden's agenda. Because in the hopes that, well, if we get that passed, then we could push for further. But no, that's not what they're doing, because they don't actually want these policies to happen. Corporate America already got their massive amounts of handouts. They got their corporate welfare. And now they don't want anything else. The donors own the party. And they are making sure the party gets nothing done that might actually impact their future profits or even hold them accountable for some of the stuff that they're doing. Now, as far as this piece of so-called journalism, no, this is a hatchet job. This is what a Democratic consultant came, to Axios and said, we want you to write this down. This is sad and pathetic. They're deflecting and attacking people who are actually trying to get progress and defending the very people who tried to block Joe Biden's agenda. Now, look, I'm blaming progressives. We all knew this was going to happen. You can go back months ago. I've made videos about this on Build Back Better, on these policies. You can even go back years about different policies. And you're going to get me saying, you're going to find me saying, when the Democrats inevitably fail because they didn't use their majority to get the things that the voters wanted, they're going to come back and do one thing. They're going to blame progressives for it. The far left, the hard left. I can't believe the hard left would do something like this.